Okay, so the pollard. Yeah, I'm going to try and get it out of this pond pot that it's been in and put it into this rather nice cream pot, which comes with its own water tray, which I also had for Christmas. Or was it my birthday? My new birthday's Christmas. It's hard to remember sometimes. So, yeah, what I've done with this previous years is I've grown it in the pond in the summer, with the pot actually submerged in the pond, which allowed the tree to grow really well, and then pulled it out in the autumn and things were okay. However, this last year I think I pulled it out a bit prematurely, and then the weather stayed very warm and very dry at the end of the summer, and I've had quite a lot of dieback. If you saw my other videos on Pollard Willows, you'll know that ancient pollards do have lots of dieback. It's very much a feature of them. So I'm actually not going to touch any of this deadwood at all. I'm just going to leave it in place and let the tree sprout back from the living portions, just like a real pollard would. And we'll see what happens after a year in a larger amount of compost. The tree will be able to root out the holes in the bottom into the water tray, which I'll keep filled with water, and we'll see how that works. Let's see if we can get this tree out of this pot. It's quite difficult because the tree is rooted through all the holes in the side. I'm going to turn the camera off, move it out of the way so I can wrestle with this without knocking the camera over. Okay, so I literally had to cut it out of the pot. It'll never be a pot again, really. As you can see, the root ball is quite a bit shallower already than the pot was, and that's because I had put in a layer of rocks in the bottom of the pot to help it stay sunk to the bottom of the pond. So that means that I don't have to do too much root pruning to this tree to get it to fit in this much shallower pot. So I'm going to try and get some of this moss off. Not a fan of moss, particularly don't like moss on the trunk of a tree. I normally use a little nylon or wire brush for this job, which I haven't brought down with me, so it's part of the garden, but never mind, I can always do that later. I've seen someone using a brush on something before. You'll know what that looks like and you won't really feel you're missing out, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm just loosely, piece of wire there, doing very little now, take that off. Most of the dieback seems to be at this part of the tree, so that's good. I still have quite a lot of trees that are beginning to fuse the main trunk, so that's good. This side in particular, we've got some good fusion. 4 of the trees have joined into one place here, so that's quite exciting and promising. But for whatever reason, we definitely have more fusion on this side of the tree than on the other, but I don't entirely know what the reason for that would be. Okay, so that's got rid of the rest of the moss, and I'll come back in with my little brush later. So I'm just going to tease out the roots all around the edge. I don't think I'm going to need to do any real root pruning to get it into this pot, although I may have to do a little because I want it off centre. Fair amount of dead here, so I'm not going to cut these pieces off. I'm just going to try and tie those in at some point, and they will then begin to form the trunk. Okay, so let's have a little look at how this is going to fit into the pot. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I'm going to have to take a little bit off all round. Apologies, just kick the tripod. Now these are really old shears that I only ever use for root pruning, and they are fabulous for the job. Blunt as anything if it comes to trying to prune top growth, but I keep an entirely separate set for that. Now, would you look at that? That fits in the pot just nice. I take a little bit off just this side. Just to, well, no, actually, I don't think I'm going to need to, but I'm going to just take a little off the bottom. There aren't any really big roots, so that's nice. That is going to fit in there beautifully, and it's slightly off centre, just the way I wanted it. Sometimes things work just the way you hope and pray they will. Other times things are a bit more complicated than that. But no, I'm really pleased with the fit. A little bit further to the back than to the front. This is my perceived front and always has been. So here's my mix. And as with other of the willows I put in a large pot, I put in a fair bit more organic matter along with the cat litter and potting grit. So I just take that back out again and just snip off a few of those. Just because I can. Put in a layer of glue. Just going to build it up a little bit. Put that down. I'm going to put in some controlled release fertilizer. Controlled as in let out the fertilizer when the weather temperatures and moisture levels are such that a plant would be in growth rather than a continuous release, which just lets it out when it gets wet, which doesn't work as well. Actually, you waste a lot of the fertilizer because it leaches through the soil and is washed away before the tree really needs it. Okay, so I'm not at this stage in the game worrying too much about the nabari, although it has a reasonable beginnings of a nabari. I'm just going to continue on. This is one of the much simpler repottings that I've ever had, really, or the simplest repottings that I've ever had. It's just fitted perfectly from the get-go. which is nice. And we all like a challenge and all. You know, challenges are good for you and good for the soul, etc, etc, etc. But isn't it nice when things go to plan? Okay, making sure there aren't any air pockets. Some people use a chopstick. I quite like to use the root hook. It does exactly the same. You can get right down in there. Make sure you're getting down into all the nooks and crannies. And then you can follow that up with what my grandfather always called the gardener's tap, which helps everything to settle in the pot. Okay, you just need a little bit more to bring up the level. And then I shall need to give it a drink. Right, I will turn off and give it a little drink and then we'll come back. Okay, so there we are in its pot. As I say, I will allow this tray to fill with water during the summer months, and the tree can drink up as much as it likes then. So what am I going to do with all this wibbly wobbly stuff? Well, past years I've twisted it and tied it in with wire, but I don't want to use wire anymore, so I'm going to try and, if I can, with some of this whippy stuff, let's bring it round, and let me see if I can get this on camera. Okay, so we pull that over the top, and as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not going to prune out really any of this dead stuff. I'm going to pull that through like so, and it's so bendy. You can see why they use it for making of baskets and all sorts of things. So again, with this piece, just tuck it under. So I'm going to use, as I said, some of this dead stuff as actually part of like a framework, as it were. So a bit fiddly through like so. It's surprising how much of a bend you can actually put on this without it actually snapping if you're very gentle, and don't move too quickly. You can get it to bend in all sorts of directions. This piece I'm going to tie under there like so, and I've got some string I'm going to use for that. I can't find my grafting tape. I only used it the other day, and I've obviously put it down somewhere and now I can't find it. I'm going to take off that dead piece there. It's just sticking up like a lump. No good to nobody. And there's a piece at the back here. So I'm just going to snip that off. The rest I'm going to leave in place. I don't know, maybe this piece I can pull up through there. And the same with this piece. Nice. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going round, doing that, tucking pieces in where I can. What are you doing, Coopsy? For those that like to see that Cooper's still around, making himself a nuisance, he still makes himself a nuisance. And if you're wondering what a nuisance is just like a nuisance, but they've been doing it a lot longer, so they're better at it. Thank you. Right, buddy, what are you doing, Anne? Apart from being a little bit in the way. You've been a good dog? Yeah, of course you are. Can I finish now what I'm doing here, Shouty Pete? And then I will tie this up. Another piece of string. It's just a question of tidying this up a little. I'm literally just going to cut this all back as if someone had come along with their tractor with a flail on the back and chopped all these pieces off. Now hopefully all these pieces will sprout and shoot, and I'll get a whole load of shoots coming off of here. These pieces will eventually fatten up and fill in these bits of gaps on the trunk, or they won't, and I'll have a bit of a hollow trunk on my willow. But again, you know, a willow, particularly an old, centuries old pollarded willow with a hollow, is not going to look out of place. Okay, so here's a bit of a twirl for you. A right old bird's nest looking thing, and will be for another few years yet. But you know, no one ever said growing bonsai trees was a quick and easy thing to do, and I'm not going to tell you that either. If it was quick and easy, it wouldn't be as much fun. Thank you all for watching. Please, please, please take care of yourselves.